Have you ever noticed how in movies, on airplanes, or during military operations, people don't say okay, got it, or even understood? Instead, they say one crisp, confident word, Roger, or sometimes, Roger that. It sounds cool, professional, almost cinematic, but it also feels strangely specific. Why Roger? Who is Roger? And why are we calling his name every time we acknowledge a message? If you've ever wondered why pilots, soldiers, ship captains, and even astronauts use this word instead of something simpler like copy that or understood, you're about to uncover a little piece of history hiding inside everyday communication. And trust me, it goes way deeper than just radio slang. Let's explore, right here, on History of Simple Things. To understand Roger, we have to go back to the early days of radio communication. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, radio was still new and unreliable. Signals were weak, static was everywhere. Voices got distorted or completely lost. Saying long sentences like, "I understand your message clearly," was risky because half the words might vanish into noise, so operators needed something short, sharp, and unmistakable. One syllable was perfect. That's where the letter R came in. In Morse code and early telegraphy, R was shorthand for received. It simply meant, "I got your message." Quick, efficient, no confusion. But here's where things get interesting. When voice radio replaced Morse code, saying just the letter R wasn't clear enough. Over crackly speakers, R could sound like A, O, or I. So communicators needed a way to say letters that would be unmistakable. This problem led to the creation of phonetic alphabets, systems where each letter gets a distinct word. Before the modern version we use today, the military and aviation world had earlier phonetic systems, and at that time the word for R wasn't Romeo, it was Roger. So when someone said Roger, they literally meant the letter R, and the letter R meant received. That's it. No mystery guy named Roger, just radio efficiency. During World War II, this usage exploded. Military radio chatter had to be lightning fast. Every second mattered. Pilots couldn't waste time saying, "Yes, I understand your last transmission." Instead, they'd simply say, "Roger." One word, clear, done. It became standard across air forces, navies, and ground troops. Soon it wasn't just about acknowledging receipt. It became a signal of professionalism and discipline. Saying Roger meant you were trained, you were precise, you were following protocol. And because the Allied forces used it so widely, it stuck long after the war ended. Later, the phonetic alphabet changed into what we now know as the North Atlantic Treaty Organization phonetic alphabet, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and so on. And R officially became Romeo. But by then, Roger was already too deeply embedded in culture to disappear. Pilots, radio operators, and soldiers kept using it out of habit. It had become tradition. And traditions, especially practical ones, tend to survive. Now you might wonder, why not just say copy or understood? Here's the subtle difference. Roger strictly means, "I received your message." It doesn't always mean you agree or will comply, just that you heard it. Copy, on the other hand, came from the phrase, "copy that down," meaning you wrote or recorded the message, and understood implies you not only heard, but also fully comprehended it. In high-stakes situations like combat or aviation, those distinctions matter. Precision saves lives. Miscommunication can cause disasters. So these short, standardized words each carry specific meanings. And then there's Roger that. Technically, it's redundant. It's like saying receive that received. But language evolves socially, not logically. People add that for emphasis or clarity. It sounds more conversational and confident. Movies and TV shows helped popularize it even more. Once Hollywood got hold of it, Roger that became shorthand for competence. Suddenly, cops, firefighters, astronauts, and even pizza delivery drivers in sitcoms were saying it. The phrase crossed over from strict technical language into pop culture coolness. There's also a psychological angle. Roger sounds firm and decisive. It cuts through noise. Compare that to okay, which can sound casual or uncertain. In intense environments, tone matters. A crisp Roger feels reliable. It reassures the sender that the message didn't just drift into the void. It says, "I'm here, I heard you, we're synced." That tiny bit of confidence can make a big difference when coordinating teams. What's fascinating is how this one word traveled from Morse code to wartime radios, then into cockpits, then into movies, and finally into everyday slang. Today, people say Roger that jokingly at work or in text messages without realizing they're echoing a century of communication history. It's like a linguistic fossil, a leftover from the early days of wireless technology that somehow refused to go extinct. So next time you hear a pilot say Roger, or your friend uses it sarcastically, you'll know there's no mysterious Roger person involved. It's simply the ghost of the letter R carrying the meaning received, passed down through decades of necessity, war, innovation, and habit. A tiny word born from static and survival that ended up sounding cooler than anyone expected. And honestly, that's kind of the magic of language. Sometimes the shortest words carry the longest stories. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.